be relaxed. Welcome to Life Talks with Immaculate and Sarah. It's lovely to be back with you guys. How have you been?
I'm okay. Keeping tight.
Keeping tight? Okay, I have different references for what tight can mean, but
Yeah.
well, it's lovely to be back with you guys, and we have been thinking about love. Like, what does it mean? Is it even relevant when people say, I love you?
Which is just a word people say. Do they really feel love?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it also depends on your culture. Like, if it has any relevance, I find it to be more of a Western
Culture.
like culture or a TV culture.
Is it?
Yeah. So what does love mean to you? Or like what relevance does it even have any relevance to your life?
Maybe like if I think of my own life and my culture and all that, we don't really say love too much. We just act to show our love. Like if I take care of you, if I'm always inquiring where you are, or looking after you, being kind and being nice, that's love according to us.
Is there actually a word like I love you, like a phrase or sentence?
Yeah.
Okay, then I thought maybe it isn't. That's
No,
why.
it is, but we don't just use it often. Because like we
For special
assume.
occasions.
No, we
Christmas.
just assume that, like, let's say, to your children, you always love them. Your husband, you love him.
You don't
Otherwise-
keep telling him all the time.
No, there's no point. Like, if you have already always trying to say, I love you, it is like at certain times you don't love him. Like, if you are there, you're going to be there for years.
So of course I love you. I'm still here.
Yeah, why wouldn't I be here if I don't love you? Like, so
Yeah.
for us, expression of love, like, maybe it is the way, because that was kind of sacred. Those are things like you talk to yourselves. And when you're alone, kind of. It wasn't something that you expressed in public. So, and there's different types of love. There's a love towards your children, your family, your relatives.
That's why when you said it's sacred, I was like, well, not really. It depends what love.
Yeah, it
you're
depends
trying
on
to
what love. Like the children, I don't have to tell my children that I love you all the time. Of course, you should know I love you.
No, not necessarily. I think, like, I actually don't remember the word I love you in our family or upbringing. I think I thought, like, I love you because when you're a kid and in Valentine's cards that you see, you always see, like, I love you to my Valentine, love, so and so. I think those were the notions
That's
of, like,
the only kind of love you think. Because
so
there's
the phrase I love you for me was always
romantic love.
a romantic love.
Because
That
there are
was
different
tied
types
to,
of love as well. Because like, I can't be saying, I love you to my children. You are my children. You should know that I love you.
no, I think there's a book that everyone like talks about, and it's like common. It's a common thing now, like the 5 love languages. Like some people are words of affirmation, where to be told
Sometimes
they love them
actions,
matters.
like
Some people
I
actions.
care about you. I have like my family. I try to create a home that makes you happy. That's love.
Yeah, but with that as well, right? You have to keep in mind that all your different kids or all your different friends or partners, they perceive love differently. So some people require, or it would be beneficial to say, I love you. You can't just say, like, you're my children, like, you should know I love you. It's not, it's like a cop out sometimes.
But like if
But I understand, like,
yeah, because if I kept saying I love you, it is like at times I doubt whether I love you.
oh my goodness, you need therapy.
But that's just the truth. But
No, I can relate, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the first time I ever had I love you commonly said was when I was in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's a different love as well.
But that's wrong slightly, because the affirmations of I love you should be more common in our upbringing, because sometimes people can seek the wrong love because they haven't been shown the right kind of love at home.
That's because they are
Or-
confused. They are trying to kind of put two cultures together, let's say.
It's nothing to do with culture.
It is.
So, no.
Because
You
like
can
we grew up,
desire.
like the way I grew up, there was no Valentine. So you never...
Oh, lies. Mom.
No. When I grew up,
I
you
saw.
live alone when I was adult. When I was adult, that's when Valentine reached Uganda, really. But when I grew up, there
Maybe
was no
reached
Valentine.
your world,
My
but other
circle.
people, yeah.
But like it wasn't there. I'm the one telling you. Like, okay, somebody might give you roses or whatever when they love you, when they are dating you or something like that. But it wasn't because of only Valentine. You understand?
Yeah.
Like if somebody wanted like to show like they care, they brought clothes, they brought you jewelry, they brought you gifts, other things. But it wasn't really like cards. The way love was that time. If you got your husband, he was a provider, let's say. Like you went to get married, the thing that you are looking for is security. Is your husband a good provider? Is he going to make a good home for you? Because that's how it was. Like you are brought up to look forward to these things.
Now you've been raised in your upbringing as a child and as an adult, and then living in a completely different country.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like that, or but do you think it's important to tell your kids or your grandkids that you love them? Not like, oh, you should know I'm buying you clothes, I'm paying bills.
But now, like, I'm living a different lifestyle. Here, love is important to be mentioned or said out loud. Like, I know that I have to tell them, like, every morning when they greet me or they send me a message, I say, I love you. And
they
also
love the way you say, I have to.
Like, that's the vernacular now coming in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You're like, these kids, I have to tell them.
No, it becomes now normal because that's how they grew up. They are used to people telling them, I love you.
Your kids or?
My grandkids.
So are you more comfortable telling your grandkids
you
love them over your kids?
Yeah, because my kids grew up in this kind of culture where love is pronounced.
Honestly, sometimes when you say I love you, you say it like I love you. Like it's not like, Sarah, I love you. You know, but I think it's still, I find like when I hear you say it, I'm like, oh, okay. But it's not
because it's not something I commonly say.
It's not something I relate to you.
Yeah. But like for my grandchildren, because that's how they have grown up. They have grown up in a culture where love is... They have become better at expressing. For me, I used to express my love in actions. Buying things, buying clothes. Because that's how we knew love. Like providing a home, protecting the people you love. You know, things like that. Like making sure... Like, why do you think we buy tickets? Tickets are expensive to go to Uganda. It's because we love them. Like we miss them, we want to go and see them. But just
wondering, like that word I love you is relevant. Like I know for me, like I said, it's something I related to. I say like a lot. My apologies. It's something I related to a romantic thing, whereas that's something others would tell me, not necessarily something I would tell. Now it's different in the relationship and in my marriage, but previously I could go a whole year without telling a boyfriend or my husband realistically, but I love you, and it's not okay.
It's not okay according to this lifestyle. But in our lifestyle, if you are faithful to somebody, you are loyal, you are friendly, you are kind, that is already a sign of love.
It's true, but what I'm trying to say, let's say to the other person, being told they're loved may matter more.
Yeah, because they grew up like that.
Not necessarily. I also know African kids who immigrated here later that would say their preference of affirmation would be to be told that they're loved, compared to all those things are second nature. Like, yeah, someone should provide. Like, for example, for me, I don't believe just because a parent, I know we've talked about this, just because a parent pays your school fees, dresses you, like has a roof over your head, that it's love. It is a requirement as a parent.
But we didn't see it as that.
Yeah, whereas I actually generally, like, when parents are like, I did this for you, I'm like, yeah, you had to. Like, you're supposed to.
It's your responsibility.
It's your responsibilities. I don't have that whole, like, no, I have to, like, adore and respect. Whereas, I had an experience where I guess I got comfortable with my husband. My husband's called Michael. I got comfortable with Michael. And Michael one time was like, I love you. You know, like just casually, like he'll walk in the house and be like, I love you, or he's leaving, he'll say I love you, or he'll come give you a hug. Like it's just part of his nature. But it means nothing. It meant nothing to me. It really, I was like, oh, whatever, it's just what people say. Or at the end of every call, he would say, I love you, especially to us, like when we're engaged and getting married. And it was slightly an irritant. Because it's like, why do you have to? Are you that insecure that you have to tell me you love me all the time?
You see, because that's how you grew up.
Because I didn't grow up with that. For me, that was like a Valentine's thing, a special occasion. Someone says I love you, or like they propose to say I love you. You go to bed, they say I love you.
Limited experience of that.
Exactly, it's limited. But I remember one time being like, he was like, oh Sarah, I love you, or whatever he was saying, and I was like, I love you too. But my love you twos would never felt genuine, and probably never say I love you fast ever. Not because of pride or you want, just like it has no relevance. But one time it's like I love you, and then I was like I love you too. Then after a few minutes I was like, what does that actually mean? What do you mean
When you say,
when you say I love you? And he went quiet, and I could tell he was pissed off. And he says this to me all the time, that like no one had ever stopped to question him. Like if someone said I love you, went along with it. And now we had to start thinking, like,
what to
I
say.
love you because of this, I love you because of that. But when he explained, because I'm like, what makes you feel that emotion? What have I done that has made you feel that emotion to tell me? Because the reason I asked, it was losing meaning for me.
Because it was commonly said.
Yeah, I didn't understand where he was coming from. So he said, well, I love you because I want to spend the rest of my life with you. That I like being, you're here with me, and I enjoyed your company today. We laughed. So tying that I love you to something gave it value to me. So I know now when he says I love you, I feel like he says it with an eye, like you better not ask me. Just take it, like just say I love you too and push along. Whereas sometimes I'm like, like what does it mean? Like he doesn't. So when I said to him, I love him, for me I'm like, I love you because today this and this. I follow it up with.
But you don't have to explain why you love somebody.
It's no why, but for me, the phrase I love you,
maybe you have a different
it's like when people say like, see you later, or like, oh, I will meet up, but no one means it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing for me with
No, love like...
So for me, it matters more if you tie, like friends, you know, especially church society, they're like, oh, I love you. Like even may just say I love you, but if you're getting attached to me because they say I love you, you're on your own. It really, like, some friends, I say I love them because of something they've shared or something I feel about them.
You see, like many people, they attach love with emotions. And I think mostly maybe women. Women don't say I love you lightly. Like just to, maybe men as well, because I'm not a man, so I cannot talk for men. But I just know that women attach love with emotions. Like if you say, okay, I love this man, I'm going to marry this man. It is genuinely coming from the heart. Because you wouldn't marry somebody you don't love. Yeah, like, okay, there are sometimes...
Yeah, but you wouldn't,
people like marry for different reasons and all that. But really, honestly, you have to think, if this person like lost their legs, will I still be there? Because that's love.
So for you, your love is things that you do, things that you express.
My actions.
Yeah, your actions. So you're more acts. Like
my action based. Like I don't like if I don't love you, like I'm not going to be there.
As for me, spending time with me is I love you.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to ever tell me you love me if you spend time with me.
But that's what I was talking before. Like some people.
But that's because that's the culture.
And the way you grew up. Because like in Africa, when we grew up.
In Uganda
specifically, if you met your boyfriend, you love this man or this boy so much. But when he comes, you go all shy and quiet and you fail to talk, you don't eat or whatever. That was love for us. That was a sign that you love that person. And yet when that person leaves, you miss them. But we don't call and say, oh, we miss you or like that. No, it is just like if you like to spend time with each other, like, and like when you get married, it was even worse. The woman will not walk naked in front of her husband. You have to put off the light and creep to bed like a thief. Imagine now, like, here people are free.
The fertility was much maybe higher than you got your one chance and you had to go for it.
Because you have, like when you get married, automatically you have been told marriage is for children and all this. Like it is kind of a duty really. Because in the olden days, like you didn't really choose your husband. Maybe if the families are friends, they want to cement their friendship. They make you marry their boy or whatever. So their friendship kind of. But now when love comes into play and then some people who are romantic, they will show and all this. But they wouldn't show it in front of everybody because it was not something that was seen. Like holding hands in Africa, it wasn't there.
Yeah, it's true. I think. Yeah. But it's so cute when you see like older Africans, because that's the culture I would have been more because like in Europe I expect it. It's odd for me when people are not physically affectionate.
But like in Africa,
couples, they
used to think
back
that
in
that
Uganda,
one.
yeah, I expect it.
Now it's different. People are educated and people have traveled. People are copying cultures and all. But really, technically, our own.
Yeah.
You didn't show your affection.
Yeah.
Like openly. It was like people assumed that.
Do you think there were disadvantages to that?
Yeah. Because like many marriages, like you went through marriage just like a duty. You didn't really express.
What about towards children? Like
the same
growing
thing.
up not having that I love you and
like
being hugged.
You just know that like we never even used to hug.
No. I remember when we moved here and I would go away for the weekend, I would force my brothers to hug me. I'll be like, we'll be running around the house.
Yeah, because
like,
I'm gonna miss you. It's not like in our culture like that's like kind of, I don't know how to explain that. But now we know, like you have to express.
We know better.
Yeah, you have. That's one advantage of the Western culture.
For
like
sure.
you have to show your feelings. You have to talk about it. Because before people never talked. Even if they had problems like marriages, they will call the clan, the whole clan.
In that
Imagine.
sense, like I don't have kids, so like for my nephews, I'm very intentional to being like, you look so handsome, look at your skin, and like being like, you look beautiful, like I love you, like I love that you're this, so like be proud of yourself, like going through COVID as a kid, like because I want when they meet someone later, they're secure in their love.
Yeah, they can express.
So that they don't run for this person who has expressed this new love and they hang on to it. That I want them to have the security of being loved and to understand, how do I love? When I love, like, why did I love Auntie Sarah? Because she was kind to me. She complimented me. She noticed my strengths. She corrected me. So that they attach I love you and I miss you to healthy things, not this is new to me. I don't know if that makes sense. And for my kids...
And another thing is, sorry to disrupt you, like if you express love, so on the day you are kind of strict or telling things, they will know the difference.
Yeah.
That I might have done something
There's
wrong.
a scripture I love. It's in the Doctrine and Covenants, and it talks about when you discipline, paraphrase, when you discipline somebody or a child, or you rebuke someone for something they've done wrong, always after you've corrected them, go with like 1,000-fold of love, so that they do not deem thee an enemy. And I love that, and I think about that sometimes. Even when I correct people I manage, of course it's not a love relationship, but I make sure as I correct them that I there's a fold
they shouldn't
of
take it personal.
to express. And I think I like why you say that if there's an expression of love already, when you discipline a child, they don't feel like my parent hates me.
Yeah.
Because something I want that I've learned from, being in the Western culture and dating someone from a different culture is when I have kids, I want to hug them. I want to tell them I love them. I want to text them and tell them I miss them. I want them to grow up with healthy love and healthy meaning
so they
of
can
love.
tell the difference
So
as well.
exactly, that's kind of where I'm going with. So they can tell the difference, and also so that I want my kids to question me and be like, Mom, what do you mean you love me? Like I know my husband doesn't appreciate it, but it's cheap. Love, the word I love you can be cheap.
But you see, that's because we have been taught love is something sacred. You don't say it unless you mean it, because that's how we kind of our own lifestyle was. That if you love somebody, you will say it. It doesn't come like I don't really believe in love. That when I meet you today in the shopping center, like
it's like church love. It's like Christian love.
Yeah,
we love everybody.
No, like somebody just meets me. They don't know me really. That I love you too.
I think the phrase that really has power for me is I miss you or I missed you. I think I tell my husband more I missed you more than I ever say I love you. But like I remember I would be like,
also like
I'll be like,
love.
oh my God, I missed you. And he's like, you only saw me an hour ago. And I'm like, oh, friend, like just take it. So I understand when he says I love you, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Whereas for me, when I say I've missed you, like I've longed for you, like you've been missing from me, like you
have recognized his absence.
Your absence, or like I come on, I'm like, I missed you guys, or friends.
That's love.
So for me, I have to think like that. Like when I tell people, like even friends, I'm like, I've missed you. I haven't seen you in so long. It's like what you embody and you come with has been missing in my presence. So when people say I love you, I have to remember to not be like, mm-hmm. Like,
no, but it's
actually
not
feel
just
like,
as, like, really technically, you shouldn't say love if you
Yes.
don't mean it.
yeah.
You understand? Because when something happens,
But if you're upset and let's say the other person says I love you, should you just be like, thanks?
I will say that, okay, you love me, but you shouldn't hurt me. Because if you love somebody, you don't
But what
hurt
if it's
them.
like a whole month and you're still holding this like feeling? You're up in your feelings for like a whole week.
No, you have to prove to me, like, that's me anyway. You have, like, I do not believe that if you love somebody, you'll hurt them. Because I don't.
Yeah, so yeah,
Like,
it makes
if I
sense.
love somebody, even if they have wronged me, I'll say, I'm sorry, I will say this and this and this, but I don't want you to feel hurt. But it is
Yeah.
just like maybe the way you handled this or the way you did this, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Please
so there
don't
is
do
realness.
it again.
The
Yeah.
word love
So
is
that you
relevant
know
in
that
different ways.
I'm not saying it out of anger. I just want it so not to happen again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Because
it's
I
not
love you.
something-
I'm the only person, I can only correct you if I love you. You understand?
I think
I'm
that's
not
what-
correcting you because I'm bitter, I'm doing like this. Like the kids, like my children. If I tell them something, I'm the only person who can tell you the honest truth.
I believe it.
Yeah, and I'll say
I have
it
faith
because
in it and I believe it.
and I say that because I love you. I don't want you to have a hard life because of things.
I think that phrase exactly is what I'm used to use when you do use love. But to be honest, I'm the same even with friends who like maybe get upset with me or don't correct me or leave me out of things. I feel like you don't love me because if you loved me
You will
and you
include
say
me.
I love you, not include me, even you will correct poor behavior.
Yeah,
when
you
I
can
do.
say bad things.
Yeah.
You are the only person, if you love somebody, you are comfortable saying anything to
And you
them.
want to progress them. And
Yeah.
I think those are different ways people express
Yeah.
love. That's when I love you. So I feel like for us, I love you comes to that so much. That's why in the start I was just listening to you being like, she screwed up my childhood. She didn't tell me I love you often.
No, but I love
But
you.
like-
Because, like, for me, my love,
I
like...
know you love me, but now you text me I love you more than you tell me you love me. Don't start be telling me I love you all the time because I'm not like asking for that.
But, like...
Every time I leave your house, I just say you love me.
So I would say, I love you, Sarah, bye.
It's like, hey, I finished.
Yeah, like I remember my grandson came when they were here. So I was kind of like, when it was time for them to leave,
Yeah.
I started to go into a panic. I have to buy something,
Yeah.
like for them
Them
to
to
make
remember
them
me.
remember me.
So
And I
yeah,
was,
it was-
and I told him, oh, no, we have to go to the shop. What do you like? This and this. And he said, Grandma, you know I love you even if you don't give me anything.
Aw.
You see? And I looked at him. I said, we love you. It doesn't matter whether you buy our things or not. You are our grandma. We love you very much.
That's really cute.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter whether, like, each time I think of that,
You've created something
mm,
that makes him and them secure in the love
yeah,
you have for
they
them.
know
what
that I
you
love
buy,
them as
yeah.
well. Because they say, we know
Yeah.
you love us.
It's probably
You know?
like, yeah, anyway, I don't want to get into another something else, but I was going to say, like, it's probably why for me, I can go months or years without I love you or seeing someone, and it doesn't lessen the faith
The
that I
love.
have that they love me, or the faith that I have, I love them. I don't need you because maybe like just my upbringing.
Yeah, because like
I
we
found
didn't
security in
express,
different things.
we
From,
didn't express love like all the time.
But would you advise, would you encourage others to do that, or are you like, now I'm comfortable in where?
Now, like the way the world is, it is a global. We have to. There are cultures that we can,
The global culture.
yeah, something take out. Like I always told you, take the good part of the Western culture, and keep some parts of our African culture. You understand? And put them together because there are certain things in African culture that don't make sense.
Yeah.
You understand? And the same thing with the Western culture.
Yeah.
There are certain things that don't really make sense, and I wouldn't like my children to take.
You get confused, get
they get-
entangled.
So you take the good part from the other culture, take another, because we are living together now.
Yeah.
You have to be comfortable in where you live. You don't want to be rigid
Yeah.
that my culture says like
And I
this.
think
No.
mirror the other person as well. Like just because I love you doesn't have the same weight or meaning to me, doesn't mean I shouldn't say it if the other person it matters. I shouldn't be like, well, my culture we don't say that. No, I should
You
mirror
should.
the other. But for example,
And
I
explain
should
that
also,
I'm sorry, I don't really
Yeah,
say
exactly.
it much, but doesn't mean that I love you less.
Yeah, but I should also be able to tell the other person that this matters more. Like for birthdays, like my birthday's on Friday. But it's something that for me, when people come and give me so many gifts, it overwhelms me. I'm pretty sure I still have gifts from last year unopened. Like, yeah,
So we don't need to buy you
if
gifts
you don't
this
want
year.
to. So for me, it doesn't do much, but I know friends and families where like a gift, being given for a gift matters. Whereas for me, it's like something you do for me shows that love. Like the time you spend with me, or
Like
things you do for my
remembering your
family and
birthday,
friends.
and it's important.
Like writing me a card or a letter
I know
expressing
you
your
love
undying love
cards.
for me and saying like memories we had together. If my husband never spent a cent on a gift and wrote me a letter every birthday about like the year we've had, oh my goodness,
That would be your
I'll
love.
be loving you every day. Like that is love to me. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like to conclude there, like it's definitely relevant, and I think it's important to mirror the other person. And someone like me, who it had no relevance, like teach the other people what it means.
And you
Because
we
now I
should be willing
understand
to
it.
learn as
Yeah,
well.
now I understand, for example, for my husband, when he says I love you, I understand what he's
Meaning.
trying to express. So I'm like, yeah, I love you too. Like, you know? So, yeah, and like, tell your kids you love them. Tell people that you love them. And, I don't know, express it in any way
Especially
that
children.
they
People
understand.
like the children think like when you are far, like me now, some of my kids don't live with me. They think you have forgotten them. It is not. You think about them, you plan for them as well. Like I might not say I love you, but my actions will try to make your life a little bit better. That shows that I love you.
I know when I came back from my honeymoon and you guys had like, we came back from our honeymoon and they had been looking after the house, but we had come back and you had done grocery shopping for us for a whole week.
That's
I
love.
was like, they love me. And my mother-in-law came to see us last week and she brought us lunch. We like had come down and like, what do you want for lunch? I don't know what I want for lunch. Maybe just boil a few eggs. And then the doorbell rang and she had to like
Yeah,
roll
that's
sandwiches.
love. Because she was
And it's
thinking
like,
about you there.
yeah,
that
and
these
it's like,
people are working
and that's
hard.
for me, it's like the actions. It's
Yeah.
like, you were thinking about me when I wasn't there. That's love. So explain to people what I love you means to you and how you find it best to be loved, and love people as well in a way that has meaning to them, and go spread the love bag everywhere and be kind to others. And what else
Be
did we say?
genuine with your love.
Be
Don't
genuine with
don't
your
be
love.
fake.
Don't be fake on that note. Please, if you would like to see more of these videos faster, subscribe. If this was interesting, like, leave a comment, teach us something, or help us understand your viewpoint.
And show us love.
Yeah. So I won't be ungenuine and say, love you guys. Basically, it's lovely being with you guys today, and don't be fake with your love.
Be honest.
Yay. Yeah, and have a good day.
Let's spread love around the world. Bye.